and welcome to The Foot from Its Child, written by Pablo Neruda, a Chilean poet, diplomat, and politician. He has written in a variety of styles. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1971. Neruda is considered one of the greatest poets of the 20th century and one of the most influential figures in the history of Latin American literature. His poem, To the Foot from Its Child, is a translation in English by Alastair Reid, who is one of Scotland's foremost literary figures, well known for his poetry, prose, and translation. Let me now share with you a short summary of To the Foot from Its Child. This is a poem richly filled with meaning and imagery. It is a criticism on how a child begins its journey of life with unlimited dreams, but is reduced to be an object of suppression in the due course of time. The child's foot is exposed to such hardships of life that it loses the battle and remains condemned to live in the shoe. However, it adapts to the harsh environment it lives in, and its struggle for freedom and identity continues. This battle lasts for a lifetime, while the child transforms into an adult. Even then, the society doesn't allow the adult foot to realize its dreams. As the adult dies, one doesn't understand if it is the end or the beginning of its dream to become a butterfly or an apple. But the hope prevails. Now on to a detailed explanation through stanzas. Let me first read out. The child's foot is not yet aware it's a foot and would like to be a butterfly or an apple. These lines indicate that as the life journey of the child's foot begins, it wishes to become a butterfly or an apple. A butterfly is a metaphor for freedom, while an apple stands for attraction. The foot doesn't understand that it's just a foot. Let's go to the next lines. But in time, stones and bits of glass, streets, ladders, and the paths in the rough earth go on teaching the foot that it cannot fly, cannot be a fruit bulging on the branch. These words refer to the passage of time that teaches the foot that it cannot become a butterfly or an apple. The imagery of stones, bits of glass, and streets shows that society challenges the foot with the hardships. Let me read further. Then the child's foot is defeated, falls in the battle, is a prisoner, condemned to live in a shoe. The lines mean that the child's foot loses its battle for freedom and starts to live as a prisoner in a shoe. Life inside the shoe is sickening. Let's read and understand further. Bit by bit, in that dark, it grows to know the world in its own way. Out of touch with its fellow, enclosed, failing out, life like a blind man. The foot is a part of the child's body, and there is another foot next to it. But it's so restricted that it cannot touch its fellow. It lives like a blind man. Let us read and understand the next stanza. Those soft nails of quartz, bunched together, grow hard. They change themselves, an opaque substance, hard as horn, and the tiny petal toes of the child grow bunched and out of trim. Take on the form of eyeless reptiles, with triangular heads like worms. This stanza talks about the transformation of the child's foot into an adult foot. It also shows how one becomes accustomed to the hardness of life. The graphic description of soft nails turning into opaque substance and petal toes taking the form of eyeless reptiles is beautiful and hard. Now on to the next stanza. Later they grow calloused and are covered with the faint volcanoes of death, a coarsening hard to accept. By now, the foot has become so hard and ugly that it has adopted to live in the toughest conditions. The poet uses a strong imagery with the faint volcanoes of death to describe the situation. The foot accepts this hard reality. We shall now read this long stanza and try to understand it. But this blind thing walks without respite, never stopping for hour after hour, the one foot the other. Now the man's, now the woman's, up above, down below. Through fields, mines, markets, and ministries, backward, far afield, inward, forward, this foot toils in its shoe, scarcely taking time to bear itself in love or sleep. It walks, they walk, until the whole man chooses to stop. The poet in these lines speaks about the adult foot that walks without rest, hour after hour. This is not just one foot's struggle to break free from the system or society. There is the other foot beside. Similarly, it toils as a man's foot and as a woman's foot in the fields, mines, markets, and ministries, near and far. It walks without any respite until the adult foot stops. This means the foot or the individual either stops to fight or the society itself stops to control the individual. Let me read and explain the next lines. And then it descended underground, unaware, for there everything was dark. The foot thus persists until it dies and goes underground where it is dark. It does not understand what has happened. It's not conscious of its state. Let's see what the poet has to say in the last lines. It never knew it had ceased to be a foot, or if they were burying it so that it could fly, or so that it could become an apple. The adult foot still cannot come to terms with the reality that its journey has ended and it's still a foot. It has once again become childlike in its consciousness, so when it is being buried, it hopes it could become a butterfly or an apple. Conclusion. The poem To the Foot from its Child can be interpreted at different levels. A child and a society, an individual and a government, etc. A child who is creative and talented may not realize its dreams controlled by the environment or society it grows in. Similarly, an individual may fail to achieve one's goal due to the challenges posed by the institution or state that controls. In any case, optimism prevails. There is still hope that one can still become anything one wishes to be. This ends my explanation. I hope you've liked it. Please share your thoughts, views, and comments. My effort to make this video will be meaningful if you could subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until a new video, take care